Hi, everyone. It is with great sadness that we are gathered here for the funeral services of my mother, Mrs. Pankaj Varma, beloved wife to Sudhanshu Varma, and mother to myself, my sisters Sunana and Suchita. Today we will remember her and pray that her soul attains moksha. Her vibrant smile, loving nature, amazing food, and genuine care for all will be greatly missed. Not only did she love with all her heart, but she was also deeply loved by all. She was a fighter and such an inspiration to us. She loved painting and decorating the house with flowers, but most of all, she loved cooking and feeding her family and friends. The last few years were extremely difficult for our family. We saw her progressively suffering, but she always had a smile on her face. Her family was her life. Her love and devotion to her family is the only reason, despite COVID regulations, that her husband and children were all able to be with her in her final moments. We are all completely devastated by her loss and can only hope that one day she will rejoin our family in another form. She was born as Pankaj Sinha on October 17, 1957 in Allahabad, India, and was the second youngest of 6 siblings. She spent her childhood and youth playing guitar and causing mischief with her younger sister Rita. As she became a young lady, many fell in love with her, many young men especially, one of which was our father, whom she married on June 20th, 1978. As a young mother of 3, she spent her free time socializing, cooking, painting, and instilling values into her children. For those of you who don't know, my mom was a great artist. Not only did she make stunning pictures, which are hung up all over her house, but she also used to make dolls, sewed clothes, and made floral arrangements. In 2017, she started on dialysis for her chronic kidney failure. Soon after that, she was diagnosed with Hep C, which led to liver failure, and we were told that she would eventually need a dual transplant. Life was hopeful when she received the call and the initial liver transplant was deemed successful. However, before the full surgery could be completed, there were complications and she lost her battle after fighting for 3 days. Despite suffering so much these past few years, my mom always had a smile on her face, and that is how she would want us to remember her. The picture that we have selected from my mom over here is the one that was sent to my dad's family before their marriage, and has always been his favorite picture. My mom also loved this picture very much and had it up in her bedroom at the house. The painting you see on the other side is a painting my mom made and is titled Shama. My mom painted this before she got married. This painting has remained the favorite of all her paintings for both my parents, and it also holds a lot of sentimental value for the whole family. We will start today by watching a slideshow on my mom's journey of life, followed by speeches from the family. After that, Pandit Himanshu will perform the last rites for my mother. My dadi will now say a few words for her daughter in law.
पंकज, मृत्यु एक सरिता है जिसमें श्रम से कातर जीव नहाकर नित नूतन धारण करता है काया रूपी वस्त्र बहाकर। इस शरीर में तुम्हें बहुत अधिक कष्ट सहने पड़ रहे हैं, फिर भी तुम सबके लिए खाना बनाती रहती थी। तुमने मृत्यु को अपनाकर अपने कष्टों से छुटकारा पा लिया। अब तुम नए निरोग शरीर में हमसे आकर मिलोगी, इस आशा के साथ हम तुमको विदा करते हैं।
I just gonna introduce myself because some people that are watching virtually, they might not know all of us because it's been a long time. It's been a long time since they might have seen us. I'm Sanana. I'm Mom's eldest daughter. That's Neil. That's my husband, and this is our daughter Suhana, and that's our son Suraj. So I don't even know where to start. Mummy, I don't know what to even say, as I never thought I would have to say goodbye to you at this stage of my life. I've been really struggling hard to think what I wanted to say to you for the last few days as my final words. But then I thought, this is never going to be my final goodbye, because you will always be with me in spirit and in my heart. Anytime I feel like I have to say anything to you, I will just close my eyes and just say it to you. I cannot express how lost I feel without you right now, as you were the person that I always went to whenever I needed to ask something. Even if it was something that everyone thought was ridiculous, you were always there to listen and guide me in how to proceed, or just be the person that listens when I had to vent about something. You have taught me everything from being a wife to cooking Indian food. I have been on the phone with you for hours cooking, and you would be so patient in telling me every step of the way exactly what to do. For example, just the simple fact of making masala. When I got married, I didn't even know how to cook. You stayed on the phone for hours and told me exactly what to do, how to make sure it was dark enough, and how to tell me when it was ready, how it should look like. The most recent thing you taught me was around Diwali, about for food, for how to make bhatura. Now I don't even know who to turn to when I have to learn how to cook something. I would have to go onto YouTube or cooking channel. As most of you guys know, Mom is a really good cook, and there's nobody that can match Mom's cooking. Yesterday we ate her food and that she had prepared before going to sleep. Suraj had a meltdown, and he was so upset. He was like, now he will never have Nani's food again. This just shows that her grandchildren all loved her food so much too. The biggest thing that you taught me, which I can never be enough grateful for, is being a mother. Mummy, you have taught me so much that it just cannot be explained. Mummy has taught me how to feed my kids, how to take care of my kids when they're sick. She's taught me all these Indian remedies that I had to use when other things did not work. As well, you have taught me how to be compassionate and to love my kids, even though sometimes they drive me crazy. I honestly don't know what you haven't taught me, as you have taught me to be the best mom as I can be, and I hope that I can be the best mom as you were, as your legacy goes on. Now I'm so lost, I cannot pick up the phone and ask, Mummy, मैं कैसे ये चीज़ बनाऊं? मम्मी, ये इंडियन प्ले में क्या हो रहा है? मम्मी, सुहाना और सूरज ये कर रहे, मैं क्या करूं? I just don't know what to do now, as there is a big void of emptiness that is there that can never be filled. When people used to tell me that they've lost their mom and passed away, I used to feel so hurt listening to them and thinking, thank God my parents are only 4 hours away. As soon as I would get off the phone with them, I would just call mom and just listen to her voice, and now I can't even do that. Now for some reason I have forgotten her voice, which is I think is just my grieving, because I cannot remember her voice anymore. But I can truly say that I really feel their pain but I can truly say that I really feel their pain of losing their mom. I don't think the pain of losing your mom can be explained to anyone unless they experience that, what we are experiencing right now. Mummy, Suhana and Suraj love you so much, and they will always love you. I know you are watching over us, and you can see how much they have been affected by you not being here. This last week has been a blur and a huge roller coaster of emotions. I'm trying to be strong for Suhana and Suraj, but it's so hard to be strong for them because I am in so much pain myself. But I do have to say that despite everything that has happened, Suhan has matured so much in the last few days. As she keeps on telling me, Mummy, Nani is not gone, and we should not think that she's gone. We should think that she is with us as she is within us. Listening to her just makes me think that you are shining upon us and making us all grieve with our pain differently. This is your doing, that you have made Suhana very brave to endure the pain she is feeling. Suraj is broken because he misses you a lot. But at the same time, he just wants me to tell you, Nani, आपका बंदरू आपसे बहुत प्यार करता है, और वो आप अगर जहाँ पे भी हैं आप खुश रहें तो वो खुश रहेगा, और वो चाहता है कि आप सेफ रहें, और भगवान जी आपका बहुत ख्याल रखे. Mummy, I just want to say that we really love you, and we wish you were able to spend more time with you, especially in the last bit, as it just happened that every time we have planned to come to Ottawa after July, we have been in a lockdown due to the pandemic. I didn't even get a chance to talk to you before I didn't even get a chance to talk to you before the surgery, as when I called, the porter was taking you away for surgery, and all you were doing is talking about your socks, that if you should keep it on or take it off during surgery. I will always regret why I never called you 5 minutes before so I could have talked to you. But this is something I will have to live with forever now. But that experience just showed me that even though you were going for such a major surgery, you were not concerned about it, and you were very excited that all your pain will go away. But the pain I have seen you after for those few days, I wish you never endured if this was going to be the outcome. But at the same time, I'm happy that we all got to spend some time with you, and even though you were so sedated, you were listening to us and in your own way responding to us by nodding your head or squeezing our hands when you had to give a response. I am glad that everyone that was close to you was able to say their goodbyes, so you heard them. These memories will always be with me. I will always remember that even though you were in so much pain, you were still fighting, and you were always a fighter, that you loved your family so much. This whole experience of your passing has taught me one thing: life is too short. Mummy, we love you. We wish you are happy and at peace. Mummy, you will always be with us in our heart. I will always remind the kids of how you were and tell them stories of Nani. We promise to take care of Dad and Dadi. Don't worry about them. Mommy, please go to Pankaj and always shower your love and blessing on us. Love you forever, Mom. Sneal is gonna say a few words.
Sorry, I'm a little bit taller. When I think of Mom, I think of three things: food, family, and Bollywood. Mom used to love Bollywood plays and would love watching movies. When Sanana and I got married in 2008, Sanana moved to Winnipeg with me. I was completing my last year of my designation, so I was home fairly late, and I would leave first fairly early in the morning. As a requirement for Sanana to move to Winnipeg, I had to get two things: an unlimited long-distance phone plan, so she can call, as well as ATN. Sanana and her mom would talk for hours about random things, about cooking, about the plays they were watching at the exact same time. They both enjoyed watching ATN, watching those different plays and different movies. It just, you can see that they bonded. In fact, Dad and I talked about this when we moved closer into the GTA, and the one thing he said is that Sanana and her mom really grew really close after we got married, even though they were so far apart. 2010, we had already moved to the GTA, and we had Suhana. I still remember the first day when Suhana was born. She came a little early. Mom and Supriya and Suchta ran over to Toronto. They were there within 4 or 5 hours. Actually, Suchta was even there that night when Suhana was born. Suhana was at one hospital, and Sanana was at another hospital, and I was shuttling around, and Supriya, Suchta, and Mom were my rock. Dad, unfortunately, was out of town, but they held it together for us. They really, really made sure that we were able to survive, and we pulled everything together. I remember the times when Suhana was a little baby, when Mom would give her massages with Lal Tail, or she'd sing with her, do a little humming. You can see the bond that Suhana had with Mom. Suhana was also fairly artistic. I think she got that definitely from Mom. She's got that light in her, and we see it every day. And she's just a beacon. I can see a lot of Mom in her. Now with both Suhana and Suraj, they would look forward to their Ottawa trips, specifically over the summer when we go on summer break. Mom would always complain to us that they're too skinny. So she would make sure that she would feed them. We actually wouldn't buy any back to school clothes until they got back, because usually Mom would make sure that they were well fed. I was lucky that with my work, I was able to travel to Ottawa quite a bit to see Mom. I would make a point to at least come by once to the house when I had a chance. In fact, I've even been to the hospital when she was there just to check up on her. Our family is a very tight-knit family. We're very close. We really will miss Mom. But one thing I do see is the positive influences that she has left in our family. You can see that with our kids, Suhana and Suraj. And this will carry on with them. I hope that you're looking down at us and smiling. I'll pass it over to my daughter, Suhana.
Thanks. Okay. Nani, we all love you no matter what. You will always be in our heart. Thanks. I know this for a fact, because no matter what, we will always remember you. You're within us. You taught me so many things, and I am grateful for that. You taught me to make tea, paint, and etc. Whenever we came over, you would always make really good food for us, even when you were super sick. That just shows how loving and caring and thoughtful you are. I never really said this enough, but I want you to know you are the best nanny I could ever ask for, and I would not change that. Nani, Suraj and I really love you, and we will really miss you. We wished we could have seen you a lot more often, but the last time we saw you was in July because of the pandemic. But I loved talking to you on the phone and doing video calls with you. We hope you are with Bhagwanji and at peace. I love you, Nani, from me and Suraj.
Now we'll pass it over to Suchta and Amin.
Mummy, I always loved talking to you, but today is not something I wanted to talk to you in this manner. I miss you and I love you so much. I can't even begin to express how much you meant to me. Even if I was not able to talk to you every day, our hearts were always connected. You were my person, my rock, my safe place. You always knew if I had any sorrow or pain without me having to say a single word. You just knew it, and you always found a way to make me feel better. They say that maa ka pyar is unconditional, and you showed that to me in every stage of my life. Your warmth, understanding, love, and support for me is irreplaceable. In your presence, I knew that I could face anything in life. I knew that whatever decision I made, you would be by my side because you only cared about my happiness. I know that I can never repay all that you have done for me throughout my life, but I hope that I was able to give you some happiness and make you proud. You were an amazing cook and loved to feed all of us maa ke haath ka khana. When I was faced with dietary restrictions, you made sure that any food you made for the family, you had something special made for me that I could eat, no matter how much work it was or how sick you felt. And you did it every single time with a smile on your face, because all that mattered to you was that I am fed something homemade, just like everyone else, so that I'm not left out in any way, and it gave you satisfaction. Your playful, charismatic energy radiated everywhere you went, and that's why you were always surrounded and loved by so many people. I feel happy knowing that you were able to meet both my children, Arya and Siona, and they were fortunate enough to feel your warmth and love. I will make sure that as they grow, they are told stories about their nanny so that they will always share a bond with you. The last 4 years of your life had a lot of emotional ups and downs for the whole family as we saw the deterioration in your health. The last year was especially hard for me because due to the pandemic, you being high risk and me being pregnant, I could not spend as much time as you as I would have wanted. It makes me sad that during your last year we lost that precious time together. My last visit with you was in December, and I'm grateful that my last memories with you are of us all having a nice Christmas feast at your house. In January, Arya started back at daycare, and I kept saying to you that once you get your vaccination, we can come visit you again. We didn't want to put you at any risk. I was so happy when I was able to get a booking for your vaccination on April 3rd. It meant that we were one step closer to being able to see each other again. But we never got the chance because the day you got vaccinated, you got the call from Montreal to come down for your transplant. Before going in for your transplant, you told me, "Hame वापस आना है, सियोना को मटा कर रखना." And although you were not able to come back in physical form, I know you are watching over us from up above. Your presence will always be in my home and in our hearts. I will miss you immensely, and I will have to accept that you are no longer with us, even though it is so hard to do so. I don't know what the world is going to look like now. The only consolation I have is that you are no longer suffering, no longer in pain. And although I have lost my mom, I know that you're now reunited with yours. Thank you for waiting for me to be able to say my goodbyes to you. Thank you for once again putting your family first. I love you, Mommy. Rest in peace now. Be happy. Watch over us and know that we will take care of Dad like you always did.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of the entire family, I want to thank everyone who has joined us in person here and online today. And also want to thank you for all your support and love that you have shown us in the last few days. It is unfortunate that most of you are not able to join us in person here today, as I would have very much liked to hear your stories, your laughs, your memories of good times you had with our mom. As a son-in-law, I'm honored to be given an opportunity to speak at the funeral service of such a kind-hearted, funny, innocent, and multi-talented person whom I called Mom. As I was thinking about what I wanted to say today, I kept on remembering the laughs that I shared with you, Mom. There wasn't a single time when you and I were together and when me or others in the room did not laugh in your company. You were always the life of a gathering. I remember when I first met you, I knew you were fond of decorating your place. So I brought you a nice showpiece as a gift. It did not even take you a minute to find the perfect spot for it in your home. And that piece sits in the same spot in your home 10 years later. As we all know, you were a great cook. Every time I came to Ottawa, I think I put on a few pounds thanks to your delicious cooking and to the love you fed your family with. I think some of the dishes you used to make were Michelin star restaurant worthy. Even last night, when all 14 of us sat together around your dining table and had your food, I could feel your presence and hear your voice telling me, "Beta aur lo, bhuke mat rehna." You were a very talented painter. We saw some of your paintings today in your Celebration of Life slideshow. Your grandkids have the same genes. They all love being creative with colors and paint beautiful drawings and paintings. I will forever remember the holiday feast we enjoyed together, particularly the last holiday feast we had at your place in 2020. The simple and innocent conversations we had while sitting around your kitchen island, your endless supply of homemade desserts, and all the laughs and jokes that we shared together sitting in your kitchen. I know last few years were tough for you as your health took a turn for the worse. However, I know you fought with every fiber of your being till the end. You showed us what bravery and courage looks like. And I want my daughters to remember you for that and be courageous and brave like you. I will end my speech by signing off the same way, Mom, you would end a phone call after talking with us. अच्छा ठीक है, ख्याल रखना. Mom, आप अपना ख्याल रखना. Love you, Mom. Thank you.
Mummy, I don't understand how this happened or what to say. I have so much to say, yet nothing to say at all. People keep asking if there is anything they can do, but there's nothing that anyone can do. I'm sad, I'm angry, but most of all, I'm just so shattered. How will I continue without you? We spoke every day, met every weekend, and met for every birthday, anniversary, and festival. We poured our hearts out to each other, and you were my pillar of strength. If it wasn't for you, I don't know how I would have gotten through life so far. I feel so fortunate that I live in Ottawa and got to spend so much time with you, especially during these incredibly difficult last years. Whenever we would come over, I would sit in the living room and watch you slowly come down on the chairlift with the big smile on your face. It didn't matter how sick you were, you always had a smile on your face. The first thing you would say is, "Chalo, chalo, pehle kuch kha lo." Despite being so sick, you would sit in front of the stove on your walker and insist on making us fresh food. But then you would be so exhausted that we would find out that you were at the hospital with encephalopathy again, and we would feel so guilty. So we started telling you we didn't want to eat, or I would bring food over. I know you thought it was because I didn't want your food, but that wasn't the case. I just didn't want you to overstrain and wanted you to spend as much time as you could with us. During your last hospital visit, you were so frustrated with the food and were craving pakoras. So I made you some and drove them to the hospital to you. You were so happy, and that made me so happy. These past few years, all I wanted was for you to be happy. Anything I could do to bring a smile to your face, I tried to do. On Saturday, April 3rd, Dad called us about the surgery, and we rushed to your place. You were so nervous. You made your way down, and Krishna put your shoes on for you. Then you turned to me and started crying, saying, "Supriya, I'm going to miss you." I told you that I was coming with you, and your face lit up. Such a small thing changed your whole mood. We spent the car ride laughing, cracking jokes, and making plans for when you returned. And of course, every few minutes, you would tell us to eat something. Even while going for such a major surgery, your mind was on feeding us. Your whole life was about us. All I keep remembering is how you told me कि साथ में जाएंगे और साथ में वापस आएंगे. You kept saying, "Make sure you don't go anywhere." And you gave me a list of things to keep in the car for you. I did everything you asked, Mom. But this cruel life didn't let you come back with me. You know, Mom, growing up I always felt that Dad loved Sandy the most. And you loved Suchley the most. And no one really loved me. But Mommy, I know how much you truly loved me. And I'd like to believe that I became your favorite these last few years. You loved me so much that I was the only one of your 3 children who were fortunate enough to be with you on your way to Montreal for the surgery, during the days post-surgery and up until your last moments. It was absolutely heartbreaking seeing you suffering at the hospital, but I tried being so strong and brave for you, just like you asked me to be for Dad. But since the day you passed, it's like I've lost all control. I'm so sorry that I haven't been able to be strong for Dad. I feel like a part of me is gone, and to be honest, इतनी घबराहट हो रही कि I don't know what to do. I'm left with this void in my heart. I have so many regrets right now. I'm so sorry I didn't give you a hug right before they took you up for surgery. We were rushing because we were so late. Our focus was getting you up to the preparation area as soon as possible. It never crossed my mind that that was the last time I would get to see you like that. And I'm sorry for snapping at you every time you were on my case to eat something. I know that's how you showed your love, and you were just worried about my health. I'm sorry for ever being too tired or busy for you, and not being able to spend even more time with you. I hope that you know how much I loved you, Mom. The only thing I can do now is pray for your soul. I want you to know that I promise to be stronger and take care of Dad. I will support my sisters and continue to instill the same values in my daughter as you instilled in me. I promise to keep your memories alive and teach my daughter everything that you ever taught me. You will always be my mom, and I will always miss you. May you rest in peace now, and I hope to be your daughter in every life. I love you, Mommy.
What makes a great mom? I think everyone has a different definition for the word. For me, it's someone who puts everyone's needs above their own. For all the years I've known you, you've been that sort of mom. From cooking extravagant meals to checking in even when I had a small migraine or if Supriya wasn't feeling well, you always had a way of making people feel special and important. You had this aura that made you very approachable, and your positive energy was something I found quite contagious. You could make people smile, even when they didn't feel like smiling. Over the past few years, you started to call me your son whenever you would meet someone new. Supriya used to tease you that you loved me more than her because of that. If you didn't already know, it made me feel very happy and proud. There are so many memories I could pick to talk about today, but maybe because it's one of the more recent ones, I'll speak about this one today. We went over the day before you received the call for the dual transplant surgery, and Supriya brought over ingredients to make aloo tikki. And despite not being able to move around very well, you took your walker to the kitchen and tried to fry the tikkis, even though you could barely move around. You wouldn't take no for an answer. Feeding your family and making your family happy made you happy. It gave you strength, and it's one of the things I always admired about you. We wake up every day thinking this is just a bad dream, and every day we're disappointed. We were looking through our pictures together, and you're right there with us every step of the way. It doesn't feel real, and it's hard to say goodbye. I've been reading the same sections from the Gita over and over again for solace, about the immutable soul that is unborn, eternal, permanent, and primeval. It gives us some relief to know that you are not suffering anymore, and we pray that you are able to achieve moksha. If you are, however, to be reincarnated, I humbly ask Bhagavan to please reincarnate you back into this family, because this is where you belong. I will always regret not giving you a hug before we went in to be assessed for the surgery. It's my fault. We were running late, and I rushed Supriya. I just didn't want anything bad to happen, and it never crossed my mind you wouldn't be coming back home. We love you and we miss you always.
Anya's too shy, but she just wants to say that, Nani, I love you and I'm going to miss you a lot.
पंकज मेरी बहन लगता है बहुत जल्दी में थी, हम लोगों को छोड़कर चली गई। हम सब जानते हैं कि बहुत ही सीरियस हेल्थ इश्यूज थे उनके पास, मगर सभी ह्यूमन बीइंग जैसे हम लोग हैं हमेशा इस उम्मीद में रहते हैं कि अरे यार ये प्रॉब्लम है, ये तो सॉल्व हो जाएगी। रिपीटेडली यही सोचते रहते हैं और ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करते रहते हैं कि ऐसा कभी नहीं होगा कि कोई हमको छोड़ कर चला जाए। 20 साल तक हमने अपनी पत्नी को देखा इसी तरह से, बट हम लोग का अपनी डेस्टिनी पे तो कोई कंट्रोल नहीं है, कब क्या हो कुछ पता नहीं। तो पंकज हमारी बहन थी, ये बात तो सच है कि हम लोग बायोलॉजिकल सिबलिंग नहीं थे, मगर 1995 सितंबर में पहली बार हम मिले। सुधांशु हमको लेने आए थे आटवा बस स्टैंड पे, उनके घर हम लोग रहे। तब से पंकज हमको भाई साहब कहते थे और हम उनको अपनी बहन मानते थे। तब से लेके आज तक इतनी अच्छी यादें हैं कि हम गिन नहीं सकते हैं। जैसा सुनैना ने सही कहा कि वो मैचलेस, उनकी ऐसी कुकिंग कोई नहीं करता था और हम उनकी हमेशा तारीफ़ करते, कभी थकते नहीं थे। कभी ऐसा हुआ ही नहीं कि हम गए हों, कितनी भी बीमार रही हो, कि बिना खाना खाए भाई साहब आप जा ही नहीं सकते। ठीक है, तो सारी बातें तो इतने शॉर्ट टाइम पे नहीं कह सकता, मगर कुछ बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट बातें कहना इस समय उनकी याद में ज़रूरी भी हैं। हम लोग नए नए आए थे इमिग्रेंट, तो पंकज ने हमको एक अपार्टमेंट दिलवाया जो ऐसा जो कि हम लोग अफोर्ड कर सकते थे। नए इमिग्रेंट थे, जॉब नहीं थी। उसके बाद फिर अनीता और की शादी में उन्होंने जो बुआ का रोल किया, जो रिचुअल्स थे वो हम कभी भूलते नहीं। फिर सुचिता की शादी में मुझे कहा तुम मामा का रोल करोगे, जो भी रिचुअल्स थे कभी भूलते नहीं। और एक सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ जो हमको और सुषमा मेरी पत्नी को हमेशा याद थी कि बिना बताए हम लोग की 25th वेडिंग एनिवर्सरी अपने घर में अरेंज किया और इतनी बड़ी पार्टी की इन सब बच्चों ने, सब लोगों ने मिल के, कि वो अनफॉरगेटेबल, कभी नहीं हम लोग भूल सकते। और वो बाय द वे सुषमा के जीवन की आखिरी पार्टी भी थी। उसी के बाद वो बुरी तरह से बीमार हुई और 20 साल के बाद उन्होंने भी 2 साल पहले हमको बाय बाय बोल दिया। तो खैर एनीवे, जीवन की यही सच्चाइयाँ हैं, अच्छे बुरे खट्टे मीठे सब कुछ हैं। बस फिर यही हम कहेंगे, मेरे बहन तुम जहाँ भी हो, उम्मीद ये करते हैं कि आपकी अच्छी हेल्थ रखना और सुखी और खुशी रखना।
Thank you everyone for joining us in person and on live. अभी 5 मिनट पहले तक हम ये नहीं श्योर थे कि हम कुछ कह पाएंगे या नहीं। कोशिश करेंगे तुम्हारे लिए। आज भी याद है 43 साल पहले तुमको एक खूबसूरत पीली साड़ी में तुम्हारे कज़न अजयदादा की शादी में देखा था, और जिसको क्रिकेट टर्म में कहते हैं क्लीन बोल्ड हो गए थे। I instantly fell in love with you and was fortunate that you agreed to marry me soon thereafter. पिछले 43 साल करीब करीब हम लोगों ने साथ गुजारे, creating and nurturing our loving family with high moral values and precious memories. We never needed to say the words I love you to each other. You always showed your love and devotion to me and our family by taking excellent care of all of us. Your pleasant and welcoming personality was key to developing close relationships with many relatives and numerous friends wherever we lived. You were an excellent cook and a gracious host. We often had gatherings of 100+ people at our home in Ottawa, and you happily cooked a variety of very tasty food for our guests. Past 4 years were very tough and painful for you, with failing health due to chronic kidney failure as a result of long-term diabetes, requiring dialysis. You were doing home dialysis, and toward the end 5 times a day. The amount of toll that takes is unbelievable. You also suffered from end-stage liver failure caused by hepatitis C infection, making it necessary to have dual liver and kidney transplant at the earliest. In spite of my best efforts to provide you with required care, you ended up in the hospital roughly 24 times over the past 4 years. Even during these frequent hospital stays, you were concerned about my health despite all your pain and suffering, and you wanted to make sure that I ate regularly. You always insisted that I bring my food to the hospital and ate it in front of you, saying, "Aap kuch khate nahi hai aajkal." During the past 7 months, you were called for transplant twice before, only to find out that the livers were not suitable for transplant. The month of March was particularly very painful for you, and I think you never suffered that much pain in the 43 years that we were nearly together, that you suffered during 1 month. You were taken to emergency 4 times. You were hospitalized for 19 days, including 9 days in ICU. You had excruciating pain in your left arm that you could barely move or touch that arm. And in spite of that pain, sometimes you insisted that you wanted to cook something, sitting in front of a stove with left arm not working, still using your right arm to cook. 2-3 days before we went to Montreal, you made meethe aam ki chutney that you wanted all the kids to eat. This is why we were very happy when we received the call on Saturday, April 3rd, as we were driving back after getting our COVID injection for your long-awaited dual transplant in Montreal. Although excited about the possibility of new lease on your life post-transplant, you also knew that there were risks associated with such a major surgery. On our drive to Montreal with Supriya and Krishna and Anya, You kept on telling all three of your children on phone, as well as your sister Rita, that if I failed to make it through, you had to take care of me, because you felt that I had stopped focusing on my health to care for you, and you were worried about me. As you left for transplant surgery from your hospital room on the afternoon of Monday, April 5th, you had a big smile on your face and were so hopeful and excited to finally have a new beginning. You spent the past few days leading up to the surgery making all sorts of plans with our children and your sister Rita of what you would do after transplant, from food you were going to make, to food you were going to eat, to places that you would travel, to old movies we would watch together. You had thought of everything. And then when you got tired of planning, you would simply ask me to sit beside you, hold your hand so that you could fall asleep in peace, knowing that I was right there with you. Unfortunately, despite great odds, life had other plans for you. Although the initial liver transplant had some complications, the surgery was deemed successful as informed by the surgeon to us around 7:30 p.m. on April 5th. You were brought to the ICU to have dialysis overnight with the plan to have the kidney transplant next morning. Your new liver appeared to be working fine and your markers were in the right range for 6+ hours. And the doctors were very happy. However, we received the terrifying call from ICU around 1:45 a.m. saying that unexpected complications have occurred and you were having excessive bleeding. The surgery team had to go in again to determine and fix the source of bleeding, but your new liver was compromised by then. And in spite of their fixing the bleeding started again soon thereafter. Although you were put on emergency transplant list, there was a small window of 24 to 36 hours for a matching liver to become available, which in fact happened during that period. But also for your condition to stabilize enough to have another liver transplant surgery. Unfortunately, the latter did not materialize, and you fought for 3 days but lost your battle on the morning of Thursday, April 8th. After learning about the complications from your first surgery, when you were moved back to ICU, Supriya and I rushed to the hospital to see you in the afternoon of April 6th. When we entered your room, we saw you lying there swollen and hooked up to various monitors and the life support equipment and receiving regular blood transfusion to replenish the amount of blood being lost due to your continuous bleeding. My heart sank, but as I approached you, I saw that you were still responsive. I quickly grabbed your hand and rubbed your head, as I often did when you had encephalopathy episodes or were in the hospitals. You moved your head towards me and then towards Supriya on the other side of the bed and knew that we both were there. You kept putting your hands out for us to hold them, but could not speak anything due to the breathing tube in your mouth. However, you were able to communicate by moving your head and grasping and pressing our hands. We always had these unsaid actions and gestures. Being with you for so many years and being with you while you suffered over the past 4 years, I could always understand what you were trying to say just by the way your facial muscles and your lips would move. As I stroked your head, you turned your head towards me, shook it side to side, with tears streaming down your face. You attempted to say, "Hum ab nahi bachenge," something you had often said at home whenever you became very sick. I grasped your hand tightly and told you everything would be fine. We did our best to be strong for you, but seeing you suffering like that was gut-wrenching. Sunaina and Suchta learned about the unexpected complications and rushed to Montreal and reached there by the evening of April 6th with their families. As hours passed, I saw you fighting for your life. Your condition continued to deteriorate, and by April 7th, you were heavily sedated and did not open your eyes. You could still hear us and respond by either nodding your head or squeezing our hands, acknowledging that you knew who we were and you knew that we were there. On compassionate ground, ICU allowed the 4 of us to stay with you that day, although because of the COVID restrictions, their rules are only 1 person in a 24-hour and only 2 people on alternate days could go. But they allowed all 4 of us to be there with you, with 2 in the room with you and 2 waiting in the waiting area, and we could rotate till 7 p.m. when the visiting hours ended. However, only 2 of us were allowed to be with you overnight, and Sunaina and Supriya decided to stay with you overnight, realizing how physically and emotionally broken I was by then. In the early hours of the morning of April 8th, your vital signs dropped, and the ICU doctor told Sunaina and Supriya that you were sinking. This was around 5 a.m. They called and asked Suchta and I to rush to the hospital, but as we were leaving the hotel and going to the van, the ICU doctor told Sunaina and Supriya that you had passed away and had no pulse or no blood pressure. Sunaina right away conveyed that message to us. I wasn't there with you at that time, but Supriya and Sunaina were. They spent the night playing bhajans for you and holding your hand. Due to the restrictions, all 4 of us could not be there overnight, but were continuously rotating to make sure 2 of us were always with you. As Suchta and I rushed to the hospital and entered the hospital, the respiratory doctor had gone to the room to take the breathing tube out and shut down the ventilator. Miraculously, he started to see some activities again. You had a faint heartbeat, and your blood pressure was starting to show again. Everything very faint. By the time we arrived at your ICU room, Sunaina and Supriya inside the room were telling the doctor there that Dad has come, we will go out, and Dad and Suchita will come in, your monitoring machines miraculously started to beep, and everyone was shocked. The doctor rushed in and said that you had a pulse back and your blood pressure was increasing. We ran to your side and held your hand. By that time, your pulse rate had reached around 90 and your blood pressure had reached 120/70. I had only heard and read about such miracles. As I held your hand, I could see how much pain and suffering you had endured since your surgery. We knew you did your best to fight all these days, but we also knew that you were in no physical condition to have another transplant now, and you would not survive. Even at that time, in the last 3 days while you were suffering, you let everyone have the opportunity to say goodbye to you, either in person or through a Zoom call. And that is a great satisfaction to all our nears and dears. It appeared to me that at that time when we got to ICU, that you had come back to life just to hear me say that it was okay for you to go now and get relieved of your sufferings. I told you I didn't want you suffering anymore and that I would be okay without you. Within a minute of my saying those words, you took your last breath and your blood pressure and pulse dropped to 0 as I clutched your hand and you left us heartbroken forever. I want you to know how sorry I am for any sorrow or any pain I ever caused you. I will have to live with my regret for the rest of my life, but I know you knew deep down how much I truly loved you. I didn't have to say those words. I promise to live the rest of my life the way you wanted me to live. I will stay strong for our children and grandchildren and honor your memories and wishes every day. You don't need to worry about me, Pankaj. As devastated and shattered as I am, I know that your pain and sufferings have come to an end. I want you to know how much I love you and will always love you until my last breath. I know that you are still around us. You have given plenty of indications to our family in the last 3-4 days that your soul is still around there. But I want you to move on now and rest in peace. Don't get stuck here, please. God is waiting for you. I hope you will continue to guide me and our family, and I will be and I feel fortunate enough to have shared the past 43 years with you and hope that you would remain my life partner in our next life, Sat Janm, as we said in the Hindu tradition. Until we meet again, I love you, Pankaj, and I'll miss you.
We'll now ask Panditji to come start performing the last rites rituals with my father.
प्रतिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
चत्वरे
तत्त्वरे
खेचर निमित्तम्
खेचरणनिमित्तम्
अवनेजनम्
अवनेजनं
मद्दत्तम्
मद्दत्तं
तव
तब
उप
उप
तिष्ठताम्।
तिष्ठताम्
पिंड ले लीजिए। कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
चत्वरे
चत्वरे
भूतकोटि
भूतकोटि
पलायन
पलायन
अर्थम
अर्थं
खेचर
खेचर
निमित्तम
निमित्तम्
एष पिंडः
देशपिण्ड
मद्दत्तः
मद्दत्ता
तव
तव
उपतिष्ठताम्।
प्रतिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
पिंडे
पिण्डे
प्रत्यवने
प्रत्यवने
जनं
जनं
मद्दत्तम
मद्दत्तं
तव
तव
उपतिष्ठताम्।
तिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
विश्रान्तो
विश्रान्तो
भूत निमित्तम्
भूतनिमित्तम्
अवनेजनम्
अवनेजनं
मद्दत्तम्
मद्दत्तं
तव
तव
उपतिष्ठताम्।
प्रतिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
विश्रान्तो
विश्रान्तो
पिशाच
पिशाच
राक्षस
राक्षस
यक्ष
यक्ष
भूत
भूत
अधिपति
अधिपति
निमित्तम्
निमित्तं
भूतानां
भूतानाम्
एष पिण्डः
देशपिण्ड
मद्दत्तः
मद्दत्ता
तव
तव
उप
उप
तिष्ठताम्।
तिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
पिण्डे
पिण्डे
प्रत्यवने
प्रत्यवने
जनं
जनं
मद्दत्तम्
मद्दत्तं
तव
तव
उप
उप
तिष्ठताम्।
तिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
चितास्थाने
चितास्थाने
यमदूतानां
यमदूतानां
शान्ति अर्थं
शान्ति अर्थं
वायुनिमित्तं
वायुने अर्थम्
अवनेजनम्
अवनेजनं
मद्दत्तं
मद्दत्तं
तव
तव
उप
उप
तिष्ठताम्।
तिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
चितास्थाने
चितास्थाने
वायूनां
वायुनां
एष पिण्डः
देशपिण्ड
मद्दत्तः
मद्दत्ता
तव
तव
उपतिष्ठताम्।
उपतिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
पिण्डे
पिण्डे
प्रत्यवने
प्रत्यवने
जनं
जनं
मद्दत्तं
मद्दत्तं
तव
तव
उपतिष्ठताम्।
उपतिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
शवहस्ते
शवः
साधक निमित्तं
साधनिमित्तम्
अवनेजनम्
अवनेजनं
मद्दत्तं
मद्दत्तं
तव
तव
उप
उप
तिष्ठताम्।
तिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
शवहस्ते
शवहस्ते
साधकानां
साधकानाम्
एष पिण्डो
देशपिण्ड
मद्दत्तः
मद्दत्ता
तव
तव
उपतिष्ठताम्।
उपतिष्ठताम्
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
कश्यप गोत्रायाः
पंकज प्रेतायाः
पङ्कजप्रेतायाः
पिण्डे
पिण्डे
प्रत्यवने
प्रत्यवने
जनं
जनं
मद्दत्तं
मद्दत्तं
तव
तव
उपतिष्ठताम्।
उपतिष्ठताम्
इस फिंगर से चंदन लेके सभी पे लगाइए। ओम त्वां गंधर्वाखनस्त्वामिन्द्रस्त्वां बृहस्पतिः त्वामोखदे सोमो राजा विद्वानक्ष्मादमुच्यत गन्धर्वस्त्वा विश्वावसुः परिदधातु विश्वस्यारिष्टे जजमानस्य परिधीरस्य अग्निरिडईडितः। ओम सहस्रशीरिखा पुरुषः सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपाता स भूमिज्ञो सर्वतस्पृतवात्यतिष्ठदशाङ्गुलं मा पुरुष एवेदज्ञो सर्वं जतभूतं जच्च भाव्यं मा उतामृतत्वशेषानो जदन्नेनातिरोहति। एतावानस्य महिमातो ज्यायांश्च पूरुखः पादोस्य विश्वाभूतानि त्रिपादस्यामृतं दिवि त्रिपादूर्ध्वोदयत्पुरुखः पादोस्येहा भवत् पुनः ततो विख्वं विक्रामत्सासनानसने अभि ततो विराड जायत विराजो अधिपूरुखः स जातोऽत्यरिचत पश्चात् भूमिमथो पुरः तस्मादज्ञा सर्वहुतः संभृतं पृखदाज्यं मा पशुंस्तांश्चक्रे वायव्यानारण्याग्राम्याश्च ये तस्मादज्ञा सर्वहुतरिचः सामानि जज्जिरे छन्दागुंसि जज्जिरे तस्माद्यजुस्तस्मादजायत तस्मादस्वा अजायन्त जे केचो भयादतः। इसको उठा लीजिए, 5 पार्ट कर दीजिए उसके। राउंड शेप बना के उसमें रख दीजिए। इधर लाइंस लगा दीजिए 5 को। ओम पूर्वोक्त ग्रह गुणगण विशेषण विशिष्टायां कश्यप गोत्रया गोत्रस्य सुधांशु वर्मा नामधेयस्य प्रेतस्य बोलिए मम पत्नी कश्यप गोत्रायाः दिवंगत आत्मनः पंकज पेतायाः धनिष्ठा आदि पंच नक्षत्र मध्ये मरण जनित वंश अनिष्ट निवृत्तये पंचपुत्तल विधिम करिष्ये। इधर चढ़ा दीजिए। ओम अहिर्बुद्ध्याय ओम वशुभ्यो नमः। इसके ऊपर चढ़ा दीजिए। ओम पूषणे नमः। इसके ऊपर ओम वरुणाय नमः। ओम अजैकपदे नमः। ओम अहिर्बुद्ध्याय नमः। ओम पूषणे नमः। अब ये वाला उठा लीजिए फूल के साथ। प्रथम शिर से सर के साइड में रख के आ जाइए। द्वितीयम दक्षिण कुक्षो राइट साइड में कमर के साइड में। तृतीयम वाम कुक्षौ लेफ्ट साइड में। चतुर्थम नाभौ सेंटर में। पंचमम पादयोः पैरों के साइड में, वहीं से ऊपर लीजिए हाथ से। ये पकड़ के खड़े हो जाइए उधर। ओम प्रेत वाहाय स्वाहा। ओम प्रेत सखाय स्वाहा। ओम प्रेत पाय स्वाहा। ओम प्रेत भूमिपाय स्वाहा। ओम प्रेत हर्त्रे स्वाहा। साइड में चढ़ा दीजिए। इस उंगली से चंदन लगाइए। हाँ जी। ओम श्रीखंडम चंदनम दिव्यम गंधाढ्यम समनोहरम विलेपनम सुरश्रेष्ठ चंदनम प्रतिगृह्यताम। थोड़े से अक्षत वहीं ऊपर चंदन के ऊपर। ओखदेहि प्रतिमोदध्वं भगवतीहि प्रसुवरीहि अस्वाइव सहितरीर्वीरुधः पारेष्णवः माल्यादीनि सुगंधिनी। आगे या माल्यादीनि सुगंधिनी मालत्यादीनि वै प्रभो मया हृतानि पुष्पाणि पूजार्थं प्रतिगृह्यताम्। जल होल्ड ऐसे करके रखिए, गंगा जल है। बोलेंगे मेरे साथ, ओम अयोध्या मथुरा माया काशी कांची अवंतिका पुरी द्वार वती चैव सप्तैता मोक्ष दायिका। थोड़ा कम कर दीजिए, माउथ के ऊपर चढ़ाना है बिना टच किए। फिर से, ओम अयोध्या मथुरा माया काशी कांची अवंतिका पुरी द्वारा वती चैव सप्तैता मोक्ष दायिका। चढ़ा दीजिए माउथ पे। हाँ जी। Now I will request everyone one by one, you can come and offer flower as a Shraddhanjali. हरिः ओम सहस्रशीर्रेखा पुरुषः सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपात स भूमिज्ञो सर्वतस्मृतवात्यतिष्ठद्दशाङ्गुलम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। बॉटल रख दीजिए, पिंड उठा लीजिए पत्ते के साथ। ॐ सहस्रसे रेखा पुरुषः सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपात स भूमिगुं सर्वतसप्रतवात्यतिष्ठद्दशाङ्गुलं मा पुरुष एवेदग्गुं सर्वं जदभूतं जच्च भाव्यं मा उतामृतत्वशे सा नो जदन्नेन तिरोहति एतावानस्य महिमातो ज्यायाश्च पुरुषः पादोष्य विश्वा भूतानि त्रिपादस्यामृतं दिवि त्रिपादूर्ध्व उदेत पुरुषः पादोस्येह भवत पुनः ततो बिखवं व्यकरामत्सासनानसने अभि ततो विराड जायत विराजो अधिपुरुषः सजातो अत्यर्च्यत पश्चात् स्प्रेड करना है तस्मादज्ञात् सर्वभूतः संभृतं पृखदाज्यं पशुस्ताश्चकरे वायव्यानारण्या ग्राम्याश्च जे तस्मादज्ञात् सर्वभूतऋचः सामानि जज्गिरे छन्दा गुंसि जगिरे तस्माद्यजुस्तस्मा दजायत चंद्रमा मनसो जातश्चक्षोः सूर्यो अजायत श्रोत्राद्वायुश्च प्राणश्च मुखादग्निरजायत नाभ्या आसीदन्तरिक्षज्ञो शीर्ष्णोर्द्यौ समवर्तत पदभ्यां भूमृद्दिशः श्रोत्रा तथा लोकान् आकल्पयन् जत्पुरुषेण विखादेवा जज्यमतन्वत वसन्तोऽस्यासीदाज्यं ग्रीखम इद्मः शरद्धविः सप्तास्यासन् परिधाय स्त्रीः सप्तसमिधाः कृताः देवा जज्यज्ञन्तन्वानाम् अभग्नं पुरुषं पशुं जग्ने न जग्नमयजन्त देवा स्थानि धर्माणि प्रथमान्या सन्न ते हनाकं महिमानः सचन्त जतरा पूर्वे साध्याः सन्ति देवाः अद्भ्यः संभृतः पृथिव्यैरसाश्च विश्वकर्मणः समवर्तताग्रे तस्य तुष्टा विदधरूपमे अद्भ्यः संभृतः पृथिव्यैरसाश्च विश्वकर्मणः ये चला दीजिए। ये सारे ऐसे लाइन से जैसे लकड़ी लगाते हैं, एक ये हटा दो थोड़ा थोड़ा करके। ओम अद्भ्यः संभृतः ऐसे इधर को, हाँ जी। केवल यहाँ पे ऐसे लाइन से जैसे लकड़ी लगाते हैं ना, ऐसे ऐसे लाइन से इधर को, हाँ। ओम तिलाश्च मे मुद्गाश्च मे खल्वाश्च मे प्रियंगणवश्च मे श्यामाकाश्च मे नीवाराश्च मे गोधूमाश्च मे मसूराश्च मे जग्ने न कल्पन्ताम्। बैठ जाइए। So now I am going to recite few shloka from Srimad Bhagavad Gita sang by Sri Krishna. वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान् अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोषयति मारुतः जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्ममृतस्य च तस्मात् परिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि। Atma is immortal, only body dies. After death of the body, like person removes old clothes and puts on new ones, the same way Atma leaves one body and takes birth in another body. Atma is immortal, weapon cannot cut it, fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it, and wind cannot dry it. Whosoever born, death is certain, and for death, birth is for sure. We mourn only for the body because of attachment. Atma being immortal, one should not grieve. Let us all pray Shanti Mantra for departed divine soul. Om Dyau Shantirantarikshagung Shanti Prithivi Shanti Rapah Shanti Roshadhayah Shantir Vanaspatayah Shantir Vishve Deva Shantir Brahma Shanti Sarvagung Shanti Shanti Reva Shanti Sama Shanti Redhi Om Shanti 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 Om. Now ritual is over here. We are going to close the casket. So it's the last time to see her. Then we'll go to the crematorium.